Hello everyone, welcome to Voices of Tezos India and I'm your host Sai Sandesh Markham. On this show, we're going to be discussing about the Indian projects that are built on the Tezos blockchain and also talk to the team who are building it and learn their stories. Tezos India has been dedicated to grow the Tezos community in India and also promote the Tezos ecosystem by increasing its adoption. On today's episode, we are going to be talking to the team behind Kickflow. Kickflow is a decentralized platform that enables community funding for projects on Tezos. We're also going to be discussing what Kickflow has been doing, what are its plans for 2022, and also understand how they are reshaping the crowdfunding game in Web3. So let's jump right in and have a listen. Here is Team Kickflow, Anshu, Yash, and Guna Shekar. So, Team Kickflow, welcome to Voices of Tezos India. Welcome to Anshu, Yash, and Guna.
Hi, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I have to tell you guys, I've been doing so much of research on you and Kickflow. It's amazing to see what you guys have done, and I'm very excited for this conversation. So, I'm not going to waste any time. Let's start this. My first question would be the most basic one. Right? Please explain to us, users, laymen like me, what Kickflow does and what do you guys do at Kickflow?
So the most basic and straightforward definition would be Kickflow is a crowdfunding platform. So the usual users, they are already aware of Web2 platforms like Kickstarter and Patreon.com, right? So if you have like an early stage project, or even if you are like maybe a YouTuber who is making educational videos on Tezos, you can get onto our platform and you can get yourself listed or your project listed, and then the community members can contribute to you. Now, when a community member is contributing, it's like a patronage donations and they are not expecting anything in return. So that is like an overall layout of what we are doing. And apart from that, we also have a very important thing on Kickflow, which is called quadratic funding. We will discuss about that throughout this podcast, but the basic idea is that if you are like a sponsor and you have like a whole lot of money and you want to promote the projects in the ecosystem, but you don't really know which projects you want to sponsor, right? So what you can do is on Kickflow, we have a sponsor pool. Okay. You can put the money in the sponsor pool, and then using some mathematical formulas, we decide optimally where the money should go, like to which projects. So these are like two most important things being done on Kickflow. And apart from that, from the team's perspective, like all of us that are the tech leads, sort of, because we are a DAO, we don't have like an organizational structure of a CEO or CTO. All of us are members of the core team, and all of us have played our part in the technological development of the system.
That's great, guys. I just have to say congratulations for
Thanks
doing
so
this.
much.
It's such a cool idea. Crowdfunding sounded very exciting in Web2. And when I say crowdfunding, the first thing that comes to my mind is Kickstarter and or so many other, right? Doing that on Web3 is quite new for people, right? But how exciting do you believe it is going to be in Web3? It was very exciting in Web2. A lot of companies, a lot of products came in through crowdfunding. How exciting is it going to be? Even more exciting is it going to be in Web3?
Yep. So I think, of course, the idea of getting funded by the community is not new per se, and probably has been going for like maybe a very long period of time. And with the internet and everything, it just received a very much needed boost, the entire crowdfunding concept. But what was happening that even if the crowdfunding part was solved, the platform moderation rights and the governance rights were still in the hands of particular entities or particular individuals, and they were always so sure. Kickstarter and all have very prominent names, and we know that they won't cheat or anything. But we cannot be certain, and we cannot be sure that if any other platform comes up, how do we track them and everything. That's where Web3 and the entire new concepts of DAOs and everything change the entire picture. With Web3, it enables everyone to be part of the governance process, and which is what we've done with Kickflow. and it naturally just makes it more decentralized, and it's just more fair, more safe, and more simple in a way, so that everyone who wants to contribute in however manner can do it in their own way.
That's nice. So you're saying that, there is nothing hidden, basically.
Yeah, nothing is hidden, correct, and
That's amazing.
everything can be trusted.
Wow, that's amazing. Utilizing the concepts of capital constrained liberal radicalism, which is CLR, and quadratic funding, the platform, along with its governance token, will allow projects to seek funds matched through the mathematically proven algorithm. I had to read that more than once to get that right. Okay. So do not judge me if I got anything wrong. This sounds so exciting. Okay. But can you explain in this in a simpler terms for me and the audience?
Yep, sure. So as Anshu mentioned, in crowdfunding, there are basically three parties, right? So there are projects who want to get funded, who want to raise funds. There are people who want to, do their part and donate amount to projects. And then there are sponsors who have a lot of money and who want to donate it to projects, but they don't know who to donate it to. And that is where a platform like Kickflow comes into the picture, right? So let's take an example to understand how CLR works. So let's say on our platform, there are two projects, right? So there is project 1 and project 2. Project 1 received $100 in contribution from 2 people, and project 2 received $100 in contribution, but from only one person, right? Now the sponsor also wants to give $100, let's say, to both of these projects. Now, how will the sponsor decide who that money goes to? Essentially, in the Web2 world, we could say that there were two mechanisms, right? One is dollar-based matching and one is person-based matching. So in dollar-based matching, the amount the sponsor wants to donate is proportionate to the amount the crowd donated to the projects, right? So in our case, there are two projects and both of them received $100 each. So that is the 1:1 ratio. So if the sponsor wants to donate $100, the sponsor would donate $50 each, in a 1:1 ratio. The second one is a person-based matching. That is, the ratio is decided according to how many people donated to the project. So in our case, the first project got it from 2 contributors and the second project got it from only 1 contributor. So the division would be done is as 2:1. So the first project would get $66.66 and the second project would get $33.33, right?
Wow.
But both of these have their drawbacks, right? In the first scenario, like the dollar-based matching, imagine there is some business tycoon who has a lots of money and he himself donated lots of money to one project. So the sponsor pool would get biased towards that project, right? Because people like you and me can only make small donations, but there might be someone who made a big donation to one project for his self personal interest, maybe. So this is a drawback with dollar-based matching. The drawback with person-based matching is that not all people feel equally towards something, right? So there might be, in our case, let's say the second project who received $100 from one person itself, maybe he has he cares more about the project. That is why he donated more. But we cannot take this into account in person-based matching because we're ignoring the amount and we're only matching on basis of how many people donated. Now, this is where CLR matching comes into the picture. It is like a middle ground in between dollar-based matching and person-based matching. It takes into account both the amount a project has received and the number of people that have donated to the project. And the matching is done on the basis of a formula called as a quadratic formula. And that is where the quadratic funding term also comes into play. So like just a quick summary, basically taking into account both the number of people and the amount that a project has received from the crowd. Using this information, sponsor matching is done. And this is called as CLR matching. And the whole process is called as quadratic funding.
Wow. That is so good. So it basically gives everybody the even playing ground, like majorly. That's the thing. Yeah. So you're an open source and it's community controlled, the crowdfunding. We all know DAO. So I think this question is to Anshu, right? What are the advantages of having an open source
Mhm.
and community controlled crowdfunding DAO platform. Now, I know I have not added this in the question, but I would want you to give me a simple definition of DAO as well.
Okay, so like when I said in the introduction, we don't have a corporate structure within Kickflow. So all of us, we call ourselves members of the core team. We don't have a CEO or like an internal board which is controlling the platform. So this is what a DAO is all about. What we do is right now we don't have a DAO, but we are like, this is the first step. Like we are not calling ourselves, like corporate members. So the first step is that. And apart from that, the next step is having a token launch. Okay, so what really happens is we are delegating the governance of the entire platform to the community. Okay, so if let's say in a normal corporate world, the people who own the stocks, they can vote for the committee, like the board, who's going to be on the board of a company, right? But we still have two levels of governance. So they are voting, and then they're voting to select the internal committee, and then the committee is finally managing all the stuff. But we are in a DAO, that internal committee is completely removed, and it's the stockholders become the only level of governance. Okay, so now instead of stocks, we have tokens in Web3. So that is what a DAO is all about.
Wow. So how are you attracting the projects, and how are they reaching out to you? Because it is quite new, and I'm going to talk to you like a guy from the Web2 space, all right? So it's still quite new. So how is this happening? How are you attracting them, or how are they coming on to you?
So like initially we were reaching out to the projects because we had to create awareness. That is like back in October when we launched. So the first couple of months we sent out DMs to a lot of projects, and we reached out to them on their Discords and even on their Telegrams to tell them about Kickflow. And right now, Kickflow is actually much a word in the Tezos community. People know that there is only one platform called Kickflow. And right now, if someone wants to get onto our platform, firstly, there's literally no barrier to entry. If you want to get yourself listed on Kickflow, you the platform, and there is an entry form, okay, like where you can list your project. You enter all the details, you click submit, and you're listed. There's literally no barriers to entry, and that's the beauty of Web3. And apart from that, if someone really wants to know like what will be the advantage for them if they get themselves listed on Kickflow, then we have like an active Discord server where they can reach out to us. We are even happy to set up a meeting, and we have done that in the past, getting on a meeting and then helping them out, getting themselves listed.
That is really nice, guys. I mean, I think you guys are doing much more for the community. So kudos to you guys. Kickflow already hosts a bunch of innovative projects, right? Like on this platform. I was going to your website and I was mind blown myself. Which was your first project? And can you name a few which has its success stories from the time they've been enlisted on Kickflow?
Yeah, I think Kickflow has gotten a lot of really interesting projects listed on our listed right now till now, and I feel this is just the beginning. But maybe one in particular I would like to say is the project called Explore Tezos. So Explore Tezos is basically a great directory of all things Tezos and an exhaustive list of whatever developments are happening in the Tezos ecosystem. And they also have a very, very active Discord community. So what happened was when they listed on our platform, they didn't really have a lot of projects. But what we saw later was suddenly people who had listed their own projects, the other projects, the owners of those projects started contributing to Explore Tezos and signifying that please even like encouraging them to list their own projects on the Explore Tezos website as well. So that not only benefited the people working on Explore Tezos, but it also helped the other projects get better reach through Explore Tezos itself. And I feel that was a very complete win-win situation, and which is what I feel our platform is totally about.
That's awesome. That is so good. Which was the first project again, which was listed on Kickflow?
First was actually our own dev fund, technically.
Yeah.
But apart from that, there's this project called Neta's Token. That was like the first one. But like the first project which we got, the first big scale project, it's called Golden Goals. They are like an NFT marketplace for soccer NFTs. It's like run by just one guy who lives in France. It's a great project.
That's amazing. That's amazing, guys. I know the answer to this question, but I want the audience to know as well because it is kind of important. Why did you choose Tezos?
Right. So our initial point of entry was through the Tezos India Fellowship. So, but in the fellowship, we observed one thing, right? So when we came into the Tezos ecosystem, it was very nascent. Like there were a lot of small projects who were building significant stuff, but they're unable to get funding for their projects, right? So Tezos has a system of grants, but it's practically impossible for them to give grants to everyone, right? And also, if you look at Tezos's counterparts like Ethereum, they have products like this, right? They have crowdfunding products. We thought that with so many amazing projects in the Tezos ecosystem, there is a need for such a project in Tezos. So that is the main reason why we chose Tezos.
That's amazing.
We chose to build this.
That's great. That's great. You've been a part of the Tezos India Fellowship, which Guna just spoke about. How has your experience been, and why should anyone apply for it?
So I can go on this one first. So like for us, it was like very special because it was like we are the part of the first cohort back in 2020 when there wasn't even DeFi on Tezos, and there wasn't even like proper tutorials online to learn Tezos. And that time we were like in third year of college. Guna was in second year. And this was the first time when we actually learned everything ground up, reading the documentation. Until then, we were like used to, just going on Udemy, buying a course or watching a YouTube tutorial. But this was a completely different experience for us. So that is one thing. And besides that, Tezos is very unlike other blockchains, especially what the buzzword is EVM blockchains, which support this language called Solidity. So that's like a very standard language, and you will get the feel of usual programming when you are coding in Solidity. But for engineers who are coding on Tezos, it's like a completely different experience because there are some security trade-offs. So because of that, the whole programming experience is a bit unusual. And once you get a hang of it, you really become a better engineer, to be honest. So for the future generations, like not generations, but the future students who want to apply for the Tezos India Fellowship, apply because it's tough. It's going to be really tough. And when you emerge out of it, you will be definitely be a better engineer and you will get a better worldview of Web3.
Wow, that's nice. Yash?
Yeah, adding on to what Anshu said, that it is surely a very great learning curve, but it's definitely worth it. And when we started with the Tezos India Fellowship, everything, exactly like Guna said, everything was so nascent, and we felt like we are at the cutting edge of the Tezos developing the ecosystem of Tezos. And as students, until that point, we were all used to things that had already very mature ecosystems, like already pre-existing frameworks and everything. And working on such new and exciting technologies, what a tremendous opportunity. And it felt like our contributions would make tremendous amount of impact for the people that would come after us.
That's nice. Guna?
Right. So Yash and Anshu pretty much summed up like all of our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the community, I guess, was one of the most significant experiences that we had. Like Tezos community is like one of the most friendliest and helpful communities you can find out there, right? So that was a great experience for us, also building the project. And it was great to have all the mentors support us and, to get us to the launch stage. And I think like this is one of the reasons why anyone should apply for it, is because blockchain, as Anshu said, it's there are not a lot of tutorials or Udemy courses that you can just go and buy and learn from there and launch your product outright. You need mentorship, you need community support, especially in the Tezos ecosystem, which is young right now. And that is where Tezos India Fellowship comes into play, right? It can give you that platform to come out, build your stuff, and get mentorship and community support, and just launch your product out there.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, guys. It's so nice to see that you guys have come across this blockchain, and when there was nothing about it, still chose it and still got to be a part of it and built such an amazing product. So kudos to all of you, and all kudos to all of them who are building it. And you heard it from Kickflow itself. You know, it's such an amazing team and also an amazing product, and that came from Tezos Blockchain and from Tezos India Fellowship. So that's a huge deal.
Mhm.
What are 2022's plans for Kickflow? Is anything exciting coming?
The biggest thing is yet to come, which is the quadratic funding round. So we have been pretty dormant past 2 months but there were things going on behind the scenes. So the quadratic funding round is upcoming within the next 2 months. We are yet to decide the final date, but will definitely be within Q2 of 2022. And we are targeting to complete 2 quadratic funding rounds throughout this year. And also before the first quadratic funding round, we'll be having a token launch. So like the creation of the DAO plus the token launch. And very soon we'll be releasing the tokenomics and the whole distribution strategy. So and there's another big news, which I won't disclose right now, but it will be disclosed in a tweet in the next couple of weeks.
Wow. I thought you were going to drop something over here. That could have been so exclusive. Okay, fine. I'll wait for the tweet then. At last, I would like to ask you guys, what are your thoughts on Web3 and why should anyone be excited about it?
So yeah, I can start on this one. So, well, I feel like the thing which is like the biggest thing about this is, and also the thing which everyone would first notice when they get into Web3 is the whole ecosystem makes finance frictionless, pretty much frictionless. So even a common person would have like the ability to transfer billions of dollars at his fingertips. You can just, pull out your mobile, open like a mobile wallet and transfer billions of dollars. And that's difficult in the fiat finance world, right? And apart from that, also things like remittances. Like when we got a grant from Tezos Foundation, it was like very difficult. You go to the bank, you fill out the form, you wait there for 2 hours, and then you don't even receive the money immediately. You receive it after 2 days. But that's more of an India thing, not like a fiat finance thing. So yeah, but so these things, the money gets, from one middleman to another, and eventually it takes time. But let's say if you were getting it all in crypto, you'll just get it in 15 seconds. So that's the biggest thing which I feel people would notice and people would also need in their lives.
That's amazing. Yash, your thoughts?
Yep. So for me, Web3, like I've been saying, constantly proves to be a win-win situation, and win-win for all the stakeholders. The communal aspect of it just motivates everyone into being good contributors to the ecosystem. And that is where I think it has the biggest edge against the traditional systems.
That's amazing. That's so true. Guna?
Yeah. So like one of the things that excites me the most about Web3, like are the concepts of, privacy and digital sovereignty, so to say. Web3, like has the potential to give users the full control of their own data, right? And especially with like all the movements about data privacy and laws, I think Web3 will be playing a huge role in determining, how we fundamentally look at the internet. So like there's a lot of scope, a lot of exciting things are being built. And yeah, for the audience, I think this is a perfect time for you to dive in and make a change.
That's so true. That is really so true because I'm old. So, I know I've been here for the Web2 for most of it. So, I would like a change and I would like to see where this change, how is it going to be affecting? If I've been doing something like this for the last 10, 15 years, how would something really change? And I'm very excited about it. And I can see that you guys are so excited about it. So Team Kickflow, thank you so much, Anshu, Guna, and Yash for speaking with me and being on the part of Voices of Tezos India.
It's been great.
Thank
So
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
I wish you guys all the best. I wish Team Kickflow all the best. Really excited for the exciting news that's going to drop in, and I hope the best of Web3 for Kickflow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.